What's up guys, it's that time again, it's setup time. This time we are at Malaysia to see what we need to be running to be competitive with lap times. So let's go straight into what we're going to be running. So have a look on the little tablet. Cheers Jeff. Right, let's have a look, let's load it up. So we'll load up, looking at number 2. So we're running 111 aerodynamics again. Say, like I mentioned in the previous video of Australia, low downforce is the way to go. Straight line speed, acceleration, things like that seem to overrule downforce, especially where on a track where there's going to be long straights or medium straights, which we're looking at from Malaysia. So that's why we're on 1.1. Transmission a little bit different to what we had at Australia. So different characteristics in terms of the track layout. So we're looking at much more high speed stuff around here. So we've moved the differential adjustment on throttle to a higher percentage. What this does is increasing on throttle locking will give a more lively rear end suffering from increased oversteer. A more open differential will reduce oversteer, but will also reduce on throttle adjustability and in some cases corner exit traction. So what we've done is we've banged that up to 90% to give us increased oversteer and more lively rear end. Basically what we need that for is to make sure we get the car rotating nicely through the high speed corners, to make sure we can carry as much mid corner speed and exit speed, which is crucial for a good lap time. So that's what we're running that for. Differential adjustment off throttle, again 85%, a bit higher if I remember correctly, I think, from Australia. Not too sure about that, we'll have to check. So the reason we're going to be running that, so we've got increased off throttle locking can induce lift off oversteer and rear instability. However, setting the off throttle value too low will harm turning, causing the car to push wide off throttle. So with there being sort of a lot of medium to high speed corners around here, especially in that middle sector, we do a lot of changing our direction and off throttle sort of mid corner whilst we change direction. So we need to make sure that it's not too low where that's going to give us some understeer, but not too high where when we lift off to change direction the back end's going to be swinging round on us. So 90% and 85% is what we're running there. Suspension geometry, same again as normal, so front cam all the way to the left for maximum grip, front toe and rear toe all the way to the right, again to give us the best stability and cornering performance. Suspension 11.1, 11.6, so slightly different to what we ran at Malaysia. So we've gone for everything being the same except for that rear anti-roll bar. So 11.1 on the suspension, again just to give us the best sort of straight line speed and traction. 11.6 roll bar, say Australia, I believe we were 11.1, but we're running 11.6 this time as a rear anti-roll bar. As you see, that increased roll stiffness can decrease mechanical grip, but decreased roll stiffness can increase mechanical grip but harm high speed direction changes. So that's what we're looking at, is the high speed direction changes. So we've gone a bit higher on that one to make sure that for the middle sector, especially that long left right, we can make sure we get that nailed down perfect. So that's why we're 11.1, 11.6. Tyre pressures, again all the way to the right to make sure we can heat them up nicely and give us the maximum amount of grip whilst they're fully pumped up. And weight distribution, much more towards the back this time, again to aim basically at providing the most amount of high speed change of direction. You don't want the ballast being too far to the front, as otherwise that's going to make the nose sort of plough on into the corners and give you that understeer when you either lift off or change direction. So that's why we're going rearward. However, we're not going all the way to the rear, as that there's a few corners in there where when you're braking and turning in, the back end does want to come round, so we can't afford to go too high with that, but that's the reason why we're on 9. So that setup seems to be pretty good. That's what I've run here to at the time of recording, getting the #1 lap time in the world, on, well, at least on Xbox anyway. So what we'll do now is we'll head straight to the track and have a look at the lap itself, so you can look at some lines, braking points, how to pick up the acceleration points, things like that, to make sure that you are competitive around this racetrack. So let's go to the track. So on track now for the lap itself. So what we want to do is open up the last corner nicely to make sure we can get the straightest run possible, build up the maximum amount of speed possible, get the traction down nicely, and obviously power through the gears, DRS open, over the line to start the lap, easing the car over to the left, looking for the 100-metre board on the left, and then as soon as you pass that you're going to be stamping on the brake pedal, then sort of easing off as you turn in the car, get that trail braking working, hug the apex on the inside, and then a quick burst of throttle before slowing it all down for the left-hander. Try and straighten the car up nicely on the traction, on the exit of the corner, sorry, as the traction is going to be pretty poor there, especially through second, third and fourth gear, as you now start sector 2, braking at the 100-metre board again. Watch the back end, flicking it in, just clip the yellow on the inside there, and then obviously not running too wide. Watch the traction again as we now come towards this high speed left, right, just about managing full throttle to keep the car hooked in, and then a change direction, downshift into 5th, before getting back on the throttle and using the curb on the exit there. Just past the 50-metre board, downshift twice and then chuck the car in. As you get to the middle of the two corners, power on again with the 5th gear, and that will sort of bring the back end around nicely so you can power on through there. Just after the 100-metre board for this hairpin, down to 2nd gear. Traction very poor as you're sort of a bit of camber on the road, uphill as well. So all the way through here, having to watch the throttle, and this corner here, no real reference, so just to sort of feel as to, you know, what sort of speed and how the sort of engine sound really as to when you want to downshift to 3rd. Watch the traction on the exit again, flat out through this left. Then that little bit of tarmac on the right there is your signal to start braking and downshifting down to 3rd. Try not to use too much of the curb on the exit, as that does seem to harm the acceleration as you sort of bounce around there. As we're now coming down the back straight, DRS wide open, and braking sort of just between the 100 and the 50-metre board there, stamping on the brake pedal nice and early, and then obviously trail braking through the rest of it. Watch the traction on the exit, straight line to the finish, and we're going to be crossing the line right about now to get a 135.181, which, like I said, in the garage is number 1 for the time being. So obviously, I hope that helps you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.